Just wondering what y'all know about Jimmy at this point.
Hurt his knee. Which knee? Left knee. I don't know anything more.
Did you? I mean, I know you guys are down 19 at half. Did it feel precautionary to not have him come out, or was it like?
I didn't even know until I got out there and I was drawing up the play with a minute to go, and somebody came in the huddle, said Jimmy's down in the training room. So, and then Rick told me a few minutes later that Jimmy was that he was going to be out the rest of the half.
Steve, the 44-point third quarter, obviously without Steph, without Jimmy. What was happening there? Was it movement? Was it shot making? What was the highlight of that 44-point third quarter?
The energy, the competitive spirit was right. It wasn't right in the first half. I think we had an attitude adjustment of getting into the fight, and then both BP and Pat just playing the high pick and roll games. We had the floor spaced, and we forced some turnovers. It was a fantastic quarter, and I think it showed that we can play with that kind of pace and energy and take care of the ball, and that's what it has to look like more often, and I'm confident that it will.
Steve, you said repeatedly the last couple of days you wouldn't hesitate to use Seth.
That
you wouldn't hesitate to use Seth. What does it say about him that first game of the year, not a lot of practice time in the last few days, and boom, he rolls out of bed and hits.
Well, he comes from the greatest shooting family in the history of basketball. So, he's a pro. The guy's been around for a long time, and he's helped win a lot of games for a lot of teams. And he kept himself ready, and he just knows how to play. He's in the right place at the right time. He doesn't turn it over. He's a good passer, and he fights defensively. It's great to have him.
That three-man combination of Pat, Buddy, and Seth probably wasn't one that you had in mind. What allowed that trio to work?
Well, Pat's pick and roll game was incredible tonight, and second half we played faster. We were able to spread the floor and just get into a lot of high ball screens. And, Pat was getting downhill, getting into the paint, and when he wasn't, making his mid-range shot, he was moving the ball along. And once you get a paint touch like that, the defense has to react. And as I said, I thought BP did the same thing. Both guys really played great games and created a lot for others. And obviously, we played faster in the second half, spread the floor more, and got a good rhythm going. Just couldn't close the game.
I was just kind of wondering how, maybe the thought process and how you land on a specific closing lineup on a night like tonight where your two stars are out. You got, kind of random guys, chipping in. You have a big comeback with a lot of your bench guys. I guess, why did you go with the lineup you went with?
You're just going with the guys who have, really played the best and you feel good about. And, we stayed with Gary because he's our best on-ball defender. Buddy is also better defensively than given credit for. And we wanted him on the ball and we wanted his floor spacing. He got a good look late. He was mad at himself for not knocking it down, that corner shot. But Buddy is a great shooter, and so we were just going with the guys that we felt gave us the best chance.
As you mentioned, Pods have been playing well, but did you think about keeping Spencer in there to close? I think you took him out with 3-something left. He was going obviously very well.
Yeah.
Was that a consideration?
It was a consideration, but we wanted to get Brandon back in the game because he was also playing at a high level, and Pat had been out there for a while, and just felt like a good time to sub. We have played them together a little bit. That was discussed in the huddle, but we decided to go with the group that we went with.
We've been talking about you're going to have a lot of guards very soon, a lot of guys to put in the rotation. It's not going to be easy, but given what Spencer has done, what he did tonight, is he a guy that you have to look at, like maybe find some more minutes for this guy?
Well, Pat's just awesome. He's such a pro, such a competitor, and the fact that he can play any role. He's the same guy every day, whether he plays 21 minutes or 0, and and he's a really good downhill pick and roll player, which is, a powerful force that you need that type of action, especially in the modern game with the floor spacing, and he's a good passer. So I could tell you, yeah, I'd love to get him more minutes. We also have Melt coming back, hopefully on this trip. Pat's also on a two-way, so he's limited to 55 games. So we may have to, once Steph is back and we have Melt, we may have to give him some nights off because he's got a 50-game limit. So there's a lot at play here. But Pat's he's an NBA player. He belongs on our roster full time.
I guess just to kind of follow, you touched on a little bit with Pat's 50-game limit. Just how much discussion has there been up to this point on how to use those games?
Well, we haven't even had the luxury to not have him active, through 22 games. So it hasn't even been a question. But now it will be a question with, once Melt and Steph are back, we do have to ask that question.
This was Draymond's 900th regular season game in his career, and for a second-round pick, reaching this milestone, how do you describe, the mark he's made on this franchise and the longevity he's had playing in a position where he's undersized?
Draymond is just incredible. He struggled in the first half, and he's such an emotional player, which is, what drives him, that passion, that emotion, and the game just did not go his way in the first half, and I was just so proud of him for fighting through that and then having a great second half, even after picking up those fouls, to sit for a while and come back and play a great fourth quarter. The guy's the ultimate champion, and, we ride with his emotion, and sometimes it gets the best of him. But more often than not, he's just a winner. He's just a championship player and somebody who our guys feed off of. And I thought he was brilliant in the second half after his first half struggles.
Steve, after Pat gave you guys a 1-point lead inside 5 minutes, they went on an 18-5 run. Was it a matter of what they were doing? Did they just find another gear, or do you think you guys ran out of gas a little bit?
I didn't feel we ran out of gas. I mean, they're 21-1 for a reason. Shea's the MVP for a reason. He goes 5 for 6 from three. The step back at the top of the circle was a huge shot, and it's one you kind of have to live with. You don't want him getting to the rim, obviously, and they made big shots. I think Isaiah Joe made a corner three. Jalen Williams, made a big shot. So you give them credit. They're the NBA champs for a reason.
Hey, Steve, what from that comeback do you want to see carry over as you get ready for this road trip?
The energy, the competitive fight, the ball movement, the ball security. The second half, I think we had like 4 turnovers. And despite playing at that pace and defending like we did, so shots are going to go in, shots are going to miss, but you can be consistent, taking care of the ball, and consistent with your effort and energy, and that's what we're looking for on a consistent basis.
Steph going to make the trip?
Steph will not make the trip. He's going to stay home. It was a long shot for him to play in the back-to-back, and we don't play again until Friday. So it just makes perfect sense for him to stay home with Rick, get the rehab done here, get his work in, and hopefully be ready for Minnesota next Friday. Thanks a lot.